Hey guys, I'm down here. This is going to be my chapter review to One Punch Man 97 Backpack. Now this was a good chapter. It was a relatively short kind of ish chapter for One Punch Man. I mean, like, it was only about 34 pages, 31 maybe. But it was still a good chapter, and like it was a really good starter for what's about to come up next. So let me just adjust my mic. This chapter we followed our boy Child Emperor, who is in the process of searching for the Waganma kid who's been kidnapped by the Monster Association and this is after the events of Flash's fight. So we have Child Emperor at the beginning just kind of concluding that Flash, that must have been Flash's fight that I just saw on this kind of motion based watch, which tracks the motion of like everybody who has those motion trackers or those GPS trackers that he gave out to the other S-Class heroes. So he's like, judging by the speed of that fight, it was definitely Flash, but he's not moving now, so he must have lost his transceiver. So that's all good, but he maneuvers lower into the Monster Association with like some 8-foot warthog looking mofo, he has a meat cleaver just popping up around the corner, and he's behind him, and I was like, yo, damn, like that was quick, like where the hell did he come from? But thankfully Child Emperor seems to be the master of all things cute and cynically murderous, with a miniature sentry called Octo Tank number 8 literally changing this Pumbaa looking ass guy into Swiss cheese. Like he's made holy. Like he just look at that panel. He's absolutely destroyed. I'm not going to put it in the video. I can't be asked for that. I really like it. Seriously, it's just too long. But Child Emperor then walks on until he stumbles upon a room with Metal Knight. With Metal Knight's armor there, the original armor we've seen with the 3 kind of holes in the face. And here he sees the damage sustained by this armor, by this kind of mecha suit that is controlled remotely by Metal Knight, and we don't actually know who Metal Knight is. We know that he has. We've seen him before. We've seen Child Emperor converse with him, but we've never seen his full face, I don't think. And he's shocked by how much power Orochi must have to have demolished the suit in the way that he has. Because he looks at the suit and he's just like, yo, this suit is a wreck. And then when I saw the suit in this chapter, I was like, to be fair, I thought there could have been more detail in how badly the suit had been destroyed. I mean, it's in pieces, but the actual suit itself doesn't look too badly damaged. It looked like someone was trying to reconstruct it, which Child Emperor then goes on to say. But the suit itself doesn't actually look like it had been demolished, apart from the crack in the face, and from the kind of clamping of the left shin, I think it is, by what you assume is Orochi's fist. Now, since Metal Knight himself refused to be a part of the operation, Child Emperor accesses the remnant data within the suit, trying to gain any knowledge of where the Waganma kid is being held or anything else that he could find out that Metal Knight didn't tell them, because he hasn't taken part in the operation. So what he finds out irritates Child Emperor, as he realizes that Metal Knight had all this knowledge of where Waganma was actually being kept, the kid was being kept, but he still refused to aid in the rescue mission. So obviously Metal Knight has his own agenda. So not really agenda. He has his own views on the Hero Association and the Monster Association, and whether he needs to, and he has like trust issues depending on who we're talking about. So he didn't really want to lay his life on the line for the Hero Association for some reason or other, but he has his reasons. Now, another concern Child Emperor raises is that someone was trying to rebuild and investigate the current build of the machine that Metal Knight had designed, showing that the Monster Association has been trying to improve technologically, or has already improved technologically, and has the capabilities to use things created by both Child Emperor and Metal Knight. So they have in-house people or in-house monsters that are intelligent enough to investigate these technologies and then to try and create their own things, which disturbs Child Emperor, but he realizes that he needs to focus on one thing at a time. So with this, Child Emperor walks out of the room, pulls out a lollipop like it's a joint, and starts to inhale that shit as he realizes that his Octo Tank has been destroyed right outside this room. So Q Phoenix Man, the biggest waste man in existence, I mean, like the last time we saw him, he was running away from Bang and Bomb, and he's out here trying to make a name for himself by taking out a S-Class hero, and who I assumed would be the weakest S-Class hero. So Phoenix goes off on a long-ass monologue, talking about how he isn't an executive, but is trusted to take care of the kind of politics between kind of inter and intra Monster Association, how he believes Child Emperor has been put on a pedestal by the humans just for being slightly more intelligent than the average person, but that he is unworthy of his title of S-Class hero, and all this shit. And then he talks about how the Monster Association is just a stepping stone for him, and he'll eventually take the title of king from Orochi and all of that jazz. And he then tells us how he became a monster, which was he couldn't take off his bird suit, and then eventually he just became a monster. And I was like, what a lame way to transform. I mean, I know we have Crab Lante and stuff like that who became a friggin' lobster monster because he enjoyed eating lobster, and then he couldn't stop eating lobster, and then he became a lobster. So I'm just like, yeah. Or a crab, I mean, his name's Crab Lante, but you know, it's just one of the weirder ones. Like, I couldn't take off this bird suit, I was Chicken Man, and then suddenly I became a phoenix. So I'm just like, really? So this boy, like, he goes straight Pokemon, tries to use Peck on Child Emperor, but the little hero uses, like, he's just like, you've activated my trap card, Kaiba, and he uses Negate Attack or some shit, putting this film between himself and the Phoenix, which absorbs sudden impact. So I thought this was a really awesome part of the chapter, how Child Emperor was prepared, and he tells us and Phoenix Man how it's a foldable item or a foldable mechanism. Well, not really a mechanism, it's a foldable item, and it can be used even as a candy wrapper, which is most likely what he had wrapped around the lollipop he pulled out. So instead of playing nice, Child Emperor takes out all of his prepubescent anger on Phoenix Man here. He just unleashes the 7 shades of hell on this guy. Like, he just, from his backpack, every part, every kind of item of torture you can think of pops up out of his backpack. I mean, like, some deadly looking things. There was even this 3-pronged, I don't know what it is, device at the bottom left of the panel, just from memory. I have no idea what that is, but you guys tell me. So he slices and dices Phoenix Man, leaving him literally to bleed out on the floor like an absolute baller, and he just walks away like, yeah. He also makes a comment here about how a truly remarkable individual would never partner up with the Monster Association, or with an association. They would kind of take all the glory from themselves, and maybe not the glory from themselves, but they just have their own individual ideas and their own individual persona, and not really pursue things like taking over something. They'd create something rather than trying to take over another thing. But he also makes a comment about how the same could be said about him, and how he's like a genius, but he's a part of this bigger organization, which is the Hero Association. So we then see Waganma being guarded by 4 lesser monsters. A frog jumps on his face and attaches itself to his mouth, obviously a product of the Child Emperor because it looks mechanical. And then suddenly gas floods into the chamber, knocking out these 4 lesser monsters. And Child Emperor cuts through the cell bars and stands over Waganma, looking like Vader over Luke, really. I mean, I was getting those flashbacks big time. And thankfully, he delivers a different message to Waganma than Vader to Luke. And he tells Waganma to essentially come with me if you want to live. So we get that. And then suddenly we look up and Sludge Jellyfish is just chilling on the ceiling. And he pops down with Child Emperor using his high-tech umbrella to shield himself in the nick of time. Like, literally in the nick of time. Sludge Jellyfish was about to, like, just pancake him. And he proceeds to try to kill Sludge Jellyfish in a couple of ways, using a recorder as a lightsaber. I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. And like, literally, it just emits like this laser beam, or probably some sort of heat-based sword of some sort. And when that doesn't work, he uses his blades, drills, and swords from his backpack to try and make like Sludge Jellyfish into some sort of sashimi or something like that. However, one of these cords from his backpack is a hose, and it actually fills the jellyfish with liquid fuel. And I thought that's a really clever move. I mean, like, if you can't cut the guy, if you can't slice the guy, burn the guy. So that's exactly what he does. He fills him with liquid fuel and he lights a match and blows Sludge Jellyfish to Kingdom Come. Like, this guy just blows apart. He's on fire. There's no way Sludge Jellyfish is going to come back from that. So the 2 kids escape, with Waganma whining about how hungry he is and how late the S-Class hero has arrived. Child Emperor gives him some nourishment first, but then he just gives him a deadly glare, telling him to shut the hell up. He's like, shut your chap, boy. So they continue to walk down a corridor until Child Emperor realizes that there's someone dead ahead and towards like a different corridor towards the right. So he brings out one of his toy tanks, shooting a shot down this corridor on the right, and whoever it was tanks the blow and then destroys the tank. So straight away, Child Emperor's like, whoa, this guy might be a bit dangerous. So he's telling Waganma to get back. So the person that turns around the corner is G5, the samurai mecha looking dude. And he always looks absolutely badass with his crescent moon kind of, I'm not sure what you'd call it. It's just headpiece, I suppose. And he looks badass and menacing as hell as he's walking towards this hero who he doesn't care about the name of. He's just like, don't tell me your name, I'm gonna kill you anyway. So I was like, ooh, this guy, he's just gonna straight up rinse. He wants to straight up rinse Child Emperor. So Child Emperor pulls out his Recorder of Doom again, summoning little guided missiles which plant themselves in a square around G5 because he realizes that it's a kind of cyborg / robotic based life form. So he's like, okay, I should try and use some sort of signal jam or something like that to shut him down. So these kind of little emitters surround G5 in a high voltage cell while he is buffeted by signals which should force him to shut down, like I said. However, G5 just stands there and bit slaps the little voltage emitters using his sword and walks towards a clearly shook Child Emperor. And with that, the chapter ends, and I thought this was a really nice little kind of starter pack, a little nice starter for for what will be the next chapter, where Child Emperor and G5 continue their fight. But yeah, it was a really nice kind of introduction to the main battle, as we get to see the young S-Class hero really try and he puts in some work to begin with. I mean, and he's the only one that's actually accomplished the task of trying to find Bouganma, and does it straight away. So that was good to see. But the other S-Class heroes are more focused on whoever we meet, we're going to destroy the shit out of them, and then we're going to just destroy more people. So he's the only one I think that ever really had the mission kind of plan in mind, and he was the only one that was going to follow it, I think. But let me know what you guys thought of this review. Let me know what you guys thought of this chapter. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff, and I'll see you guys whenever I come back from Edinburgh and whatever chapter's out at that time. So I'll see you guys in a bit.